Hi guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Ryan Condon Unscripted. Now this is an episode that I've been looking forward to for a few weeks in the planning. Today's guest, I've got a new guest. So today's guest is someone who I have been meaning to want to interview for quite a while. And they're a fellow YouTuber and they have over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, they're doing very well, and he makes some absolutely outstanding Zwifting YouTube videos. Now this is going to be an episode where we talk quite a lot about Zwift, so if you're a Zwifter or a keen cyclist, then you're in luck. However, if you're somebody who's just coming out of Christmas, wanting to lose weight, get fitter, if you're just on a fitness journey in general, then there's going to be some great stuff in this episode. So there's going to be something for everyone. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest. So today's guest is Norwegian Watts off of YouTube and Zwifting fame, who very recently beat me in a Zwift race. And we literally raced only a few days ago. So yeah, Norwegian Watts, thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Ryan. It's a pleasure to actually meet you, not face to face, but face cam to face cam. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Do you know what? I said this already in the introduction. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat with me. I've got to get the elephant in the room out the way first. There's two things I need to mention. The first thing I've already mentioned, which is the fact that we had a race, didn't we? At the weekend. So today's Wednesday and we raced, when was it? On
Sunday.
Sunday, a few days ago. It's all blurred now. I'm trying to forget it is the reason. Do you want to tell the viewers at home, do you want to tell them how we got on in that race?
Well, it started by you inviting me because you take on challenges like it's nothing, and I need to prepare and stuff. So I tried to pull a Ryan and just jump into it and see what the fuss was all about. So we started racing this. You're in a category above me, like racing score wise. So I had to make a little jump up in the categories, but it went pretty well, and we both came top 10. Me coming top 3. But most important is that you had a race beforehand. So you actually did pretty well. I think you could made a podium as well if it hadn't been for the first.
You're far too kind. You're far race. Too kind. So yeah, I mean, look. One of the reasons I wanted to race with you, I knew we was having this podcast episode, so I thought, what better than having a race that we could talk about? That would give us something we could chat about on Zwift. But also, I know how good you are. You've got an awesome sprint, by the way. So do you want to share what your sprint is?
Well, put it on the spot to brag about myself, but my sprint is when I'm pretty rested and in the position, it's pretty good. I would say probably between 12 to 1,300 watts.
Wow!
For some seconds, it's not like a tour of something sprint, but but my max sprint has been 1480, I think, which is
1480. Is that off of like full on training and completely rested? You can do 1480.
Yeah, zone 2 and just one sprint, and that's it.
Yeah.
So for some seconds, I think it's 1 or 2 seconds. So it's by peak max, but
yeah, that's amazing. I mean, look, I've got to be honest. If we're bragging, and you've 100% won the brag already, but I think my peak sprint off of zone 2 warm up and a one-off effort is probably about 800. I don't think I've quite reached the 900 yet. So you've definitely beaten me on the sprint. So that's awesome. You are a powerhouse.
Well, you get there. You will get there.
I will. I will eventually, but you're already there, mate. So you're killing it.
Thanks.
But yeah, and where did you finish? Where did you finish in the race?
I came third. It was such a surprise. I just I raced all that I could, and I did the race on Friday, and this was 1 minute faster than that one on Sunday. So it was pretty fast, and I was knackered from the one I did on Friday. So I was pretty surprised to be in the position I was in. And it was well timed and everything, and it was so much fun and surprising, not at least. So
yeah, it was a fun race. I mean, look, for those, just to put it in context, it was on Tempus Fugit. It was on the recent Zwift racing series that they've got at the moment. It was stage 1 Tempus Fugit, so it's completely deadpan flat. It was absolutely made for heavier riders like us, and you know, any lightweights out there, any featherweights that just, you know, bounce up mountains like mountain goats, this course was not for them. It was built for us. And if you want to watch the video of us, you know, in the race together, Norwegian Watts, his channel, it's on his channel, it's on your channel, and it's a good watch. I was enjoying watching, you know, how easy you made it look. I gotta be honest. I mean, I know you had to cut off at the end because you nearly threw up, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I actually threw up. So I just made it like look so. I was tired.
Yeah.
But I actually threw up and had to go and get towels and stuff. So it was nasty. But that was an all-out attack. So I was dead finish after that.
Yeah, it was awesome. You smashed it. Yeah, really good.
Thanks.
So congratulations. You could have won that, by the way. I will say that for the record. First place was definitely there for you.
Yeah, it was not even a second. So
yeah, it was like camera finish, wasn't it? It was a photo finish on the line. Awesome. So moving away from that race, just before we talk more about Zwift, there's a few things I wanted to chat about in this episode. I want to talk about Zwift and how you got into it, because you're not a long-term Zwifter, are you? How long have you been into Zwift?
I think since January last year.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much a year.
Yeah. So, you know, you've been in it less than I have, and I still consider myself a relatively noob Zwifter. So, you know, it's going to be great to chat to someone who, you know, has been on a similar journey to me. So we'll get into some of that. But you're also into Zwift, not to win races, not to become an A Zwifter. You're in it for the training and, if you don't mind me saying, specifically the weight loss aspect, I suppose. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's all the health aspect of cycling. I pretty much I gained a lot of weight since I stopped cycling. I used to cycle in a team before, but I stopped and gained a hell of a lot fast, because I ate the same without the training. So I just continued like I was doing the 3-hour rides every now and then, but I didn't get away with it. I couldn't outrun the bad diet, I guess. So I gained a lot of kilos, and and I thought I need to get a PT. I got a PT, and he made me show up. He made me like, he was expecting results. He was expecting me to show what I've done the last few weeks and last few days and all that. And I thought, this is expensive. So how can I make it like for myself? And I started thinking, what about YouTube or a blog? Like, are they gonna show up and like make me do it again and expect me and like make a wanted poster when I disappear, hopefully. And as a matter of fact, I was not expecting like a massive support, but I made a video explaining my situation. I just said, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start cycling and see how it's moving forward. And the support in this community is something else. I've been playing a lot of games and online like every other guy in my age, but this is something else. So I actually fell in love with the Zwift community because of the lack of toxicity and more of a supporting community than anything else. So I was really like baffled of how kind everyone was. So me posting the first video, there was a bunch of YouTubers like showing their community posts, like go over and support this dude, like Benji, like what's his face, Eric did the same thing.
What's
They
his
just
face?
pulled they like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Never heard of them before.
Yeah.
Never followed them before, and having like no clue what this community was all about. And they just like go and support, and had 80 subscribers in like a day. It was immense.
It's because
so
one of the things I've got is to talk about YouTube and the journey you've been on, because what I like about your channel is, and we were chatting about this, in the green room before the episode started, is that your channel isn't set up with the intention of being a YouTuber. You make videos with the intention of documenting your journey. So it's kind of the other way around, which I think gives your channel a lot of credibility, and also it's very genuine. Is that a fair description of what your channel's about?
I love that description, because I haven't really thought of it like that, but I love it when you say it like that.
Yeah, because that's one of the reasons I wanted to chat to you, because I watch. I'm sure you do the same. I'm completely addicted to Zwift and cycling in general, which I never thought I would be. 2 years ago, I hated cycling. I didn't want anything to do with it. I remember saying to my missus, shoot me if I ever buy a road bike, and 2 years later, here I am cycling every single day, either on Zwift or with my new gravel bike, and looking at signing up for events. It's mental. But I watch loads, probably more than's good for me, YouTubers who make Zwift and cycling videos. And I've got some absolute favourites. You've mentioned two there, Eric and Benji. I think their videos are brilliant, very motivational, very different to each other. Benji makes videos where he tells a story. Eric just makes videos where he's either suffering or making others suffer. So, both very different but equally fantastic channels. And I'd put you up there as one of those channels, because your journey is very raw. You don't care about lighting, fantastic top of the range cameras. Your channel's all about your journey and you Zwifting and cycling and becoming a better version of you, I suppose. And it's one of the things that's what drew me to wanting to talk to you.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate that, and I kind of we're kind of similar, I guess. I mean, I'm at the start where you have been before, and I think I think that's why we are drawn to each other, I guess. Because we have similar stuff going on.
Oh, it sounds like right love in this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is good. One thing I want to ask you before we move on to some of the other bits and pieces I've got written down here is the other thing that I said at the beginning. I wanted to mention two things. So the race, and then the second thing, we've already mentioned the race, where you smashed it, by the way, and beat me. But the second thing is the headband. The iconic headband, the Norwegian Watts headband.
Yeah, I should probably start selling these.
You should.
With the Norwegian Watts logo.
Yeah. Do you
do
wear it everywhere? Do you wear it to bed? Do you go shopping wearing it?
Yeah, with my wife everywhere. Yeah, it's a part of me now, I guess. Literally. It was one comment that made me never stop using these.
Yeah.
I got to admit, I don't use it at work, but yeah. But it was one comment, and it said, "You look awesome. Nice headband."
Cool.
That's it. That was it. And I thought, that's what I need.
Yeah.
And, support, man. That's anything. Like it's so much fun. And if that viewer got something out of me wearing a headband, like with all the massive hair I had back then, and it's just for jokes, I love it. And I'm all for jokes.
Yeah, it's good. I like that. YouTube can be brilliant for positivity. You get loads of comments on there, and I'm sure you're the same as me. I really appreciate it when people leave me comments. I mean, obviously I don't appreciate some of the comments are mental, but I also appreciate people that are on the journey and sharing their experiences. That means a lot. And stuff like that I love. So just to get a bit of background into your story, you live in Norway. That's right, isn't it? What part of Norway do you live in?
The northern part, the cold part.
Is there a warm
It's
part of Norway?
no,
No.
no. It's above the Arctic Circle
Wow.
actually.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much we have 2 hours of daylight right now. So it's pretty heavy on winters, and it's pretty hard to get a night's sleep during summer because it's always light outside. So
It's always
yeah,
night during the summer.
yeah, yeah.
24/7.
The sun never sets
Wow.
or never goes down. So it just dips behind the mountain, and it's up again. So it's pretty amazing.
So I know you sent me a picture the other day of your driveway
Yeah,
that literally had 2 walls that were like 8 foot of snowdrift, where you've just cut a path in between them to get your car out.
yeah, yeah. And it's I love the comment you said. You said something like, "This looks like the part on up the Zwift," where and it's exactly like that. Yeah,
Yeah. You know when we have a problem, when real life examples, we just compare it to Zwift. You know the addiction's
pretty much,
real.
yeah.
So, okay. So do you do any outside, a silly question probably, do you do any outside cycling at all? I mean, I don't know if you can in that much snow and ice.
No, we have good conditions during summer because then you can do it like the whole day, really.
Yeah.
Like 24 hours. You can go for. We have actually races that are arranged at nighttime, like from midnight to the morning, because then it's no tourists, traffic, nothing. So we actually go racing at night. It's a few years since that was a part of my life though, but yeah, we have local teams like every other country, and I started cycling in outside in 2015, I guess.
Right.
My friend lent me money so I could buy my first aluminum bike, and yeah, I was really hooked because they bought the bike at the same time, but they were really fast, and I didn't understand that, like why. And I gravity, man. It's because like I was a heavy dude back then as well, and yeah, I got back in shape, really, but really good shape. It was such a good journey that like national press made an article about it. So yeah, it was. It's ridiculous because I should never have done that because the relapse is real, man.
Yeah.
So when you then screw up, it's yeah, you look silly. And but now I kind of got back to the rhythm and start enjoying cycling again, and not being too into numbers, too into results, too hasty. Like this is a slow thing with me doing something that I love, like I actually love, and want to go home from work so I can actually jump on my bike.
Yeah.
And this is for me the most meaningful way of doing it, I think.
So are you into cycling for your love of cycling, or are you like me where you got into it for you needing it as a means to an end to lose weight and then fell in love with it?
Yes, exactly. Like I did it because my friends did it.
Right.
And they were spending so much time on the bike, so I was like, okay, so get me one, and let's see what the fuss is all about. And then it was actually pretty cool. And then knowing what I know, like riding bikes, made me also impressed by what they're actually doing in the Tour de France, like for example.
It makes you seeing,
yeah, and it's exactly the same. We have a pro race here where all the big teams in the tour comes. It's called the Arctic Race of Norway, and when they actually go where you have ridden and got your Strava KOMs or whatnot, they go and smash it, like, and then you go outside after that and try to compete with the times of the pros, and it's impossible, man. And so that's why I really love cycling, is because this is so extreme sport in so many ways, man.
Do you know what? It's funny how you describe cycling, because it is true. When you look at people, or when you look at the elites on like the Tour de France, as you've mentioned, when you watch them, they make it look so effortless. I mean, other than when they're doing max sprints, up a mountain straight up at, 2,000 watts, obviously you can see that they're putting effort in there, but the rest of the time they're zone 2 in it in a peloton. They make it look effortless, and you just don't see that in any other sport. Like, you watch other sports, and of course the elites probably don't make it look as hard as probably how we would look doing it. But unlike in running, for example, I do still do a lot of running, and you know when someone's putting max effort in it because you can just see it physically. But with cycling, you watch someone, you think, I can do that. It can't be that hard. And then you try it, and immediately it becomes apparent how hard holding 300 watts for any length of time is.
Yeah, it's insane, and I think we had the one local guy who made it into one of the world tour, or maybe some pro team at least, and he was racing in some UCI races, and yeah, he was doing pretty well. But when he was back home here on his summer vacation, or during spring or whatever, like, we could see him doing 8-hour shifts outside, man. Like, this is no joke. Yeah. This is to become where it looks effortless.
Yeah,
it's so much work, and it's so inspiring because they eat more than me, and still I'm the fat guy. Like, it's insane what they're doing. Like, it's impossible.
Crazy. I mean, I heard someone say the other day, or was it an article that I read, when they were talking about Pogacar, and when he's zone 2s, his zone 2 is like 320 watts. And that's him just a warm up, easy, 50k at 320 watts, like, no problem. That's crazy.
That explains why he's winning the yellow jersey, really.
Yeah, it is mental. But yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to increase my watts. What's your FTP at the moment?
I don't really know. I haven't done one since April.
Yeah.
But I would say to 70 to 80.
Wow.
At the moment.
No wonder you beat me.
Well, it's if I'm lucky, I can hold that for 1 hour. I mean, the test says it's good for an hour, but doing it for 1 hour is something else. And I think my endurance is what I really lack the most. Yeah, massive body and low VO2 max. It's complicated, and you need to lose weight to also be more endurance. And
what's your ambitions with your cycling? What are your end goals? Where would you like to be this time next year?
Well, I don't have a schedule or something, a goal or anything. But what I appreciate by cycling is everything becomes better. Like, everything. It's easier waking up in the morning. It's easier to go to sleep. It's easier to actually sleep. Everything is. Your hormones are under control. You don't no psychological problems. You're more thinking clearly. Everything with training, man. You said the runner high, probably.
Yeah. I
get this endorphin rush from riding my bike, and I really appreciate all the side effects, if you like, of doing cycling more than I do to achieve stuff. This is how I now measure my progress. It's how I'm feeling and how this contributes to my day life.
Yeah. What I like about cycling for me is, if for a short period, not for long, if I enter a race, I've never done an IRL race. I've never done one outside in real life. I've only ever done them on Zwift. And my ambition is one day to attempt a real race. And I will get round to it when I build up the confidence. My problem is I've got into cycling through Zwift, whereas other people do it the other way around. Normally, they get into cycling and fall in love with riding their bike in the hills and, in the nice scenery. And then during the winter, because they want to keep up with their training, they then jump on Zwift. I haven't done that. I've done it the other way around. So I'm completely hooked on Zwift, which is great for my, for the fact that I am able to have no excuses. I can jump out of bed, do a max effort ride or a long zone 2, or I can catch one in between lunch or when I get home from work, etc. But I've noticed that with cycling, what I like about cycling, and this is controversial really, because a lot of cyclists they like the fact that they're really good at it, but there's no way someone like me, I talk for myself, there's no way I could keep up with a front pack in a running race. If I'd run up, and even a park run, forget about a marathon or half, I was about to say a half marathon. I'm not keeping up with anyone in a half marathon, but even take a park run, which is only 5k, there's no way I could leave the start line and keep up with the front runners for any distance. But in cycling, I can, especially if it's flat, because my weight can be an advantage on the flats, which makes it a bit more competitive.
Yeah, but I must say, even though it's like sometimes on the flat we have, or in long downhill sections we have the advantage, but I must say we haven't picked the easiest sport to like really compete in.
No,
this is for the guys who really loves a challenge.
Yeah.
If you're overweight and buy a bicycle, then you have a challenge, because this is pure physics. It's not supposed to be.
But what I mean by cycling is
like
I find it more. What I mean is I don't mean it in the sense of I think I'm great and I can keep up with anyone. That's not what I mean. I know I can't. As soon as I hit a hill, I'm done, right? But when I did London to Brighton, and I know that it's my own example, Norwegian Watts. It's the only thing that I can call on as being an example, because I haven't done anything else. I am going to this year. I've got ambitions for this year to do different things. But when I did London to Brighton, I was overtaking much lighter riders than me, and they were cyclists. These were guys who had top of the range bikes. A cyclist when they're head to toe in branded lycra, or in words that I can't pronounce. Everything's skin tight, it's all colourful, and their bikes look like they're worth more than my car. That's how you know they're a cyclist. And I'm overtaking some of them on the hills and on the descents. There's no way I'm doing that in a running race. That's not happening. So that's what I like about cycling, is it can be more, what's the word? As a heavier rider, I'm never going to weigh 75 kg. Like, that's never going to happen. And as a heavier rider, it's more, I feel like I can achieve more, if you know what I mean, because I'm quite competitive. So
yeah, it's sometimes really rewarding to become because you can actually draft other people. Like on Zwift, there's an algorithm making some magic, but in real life, to actually go 50 kilometers an hour and don't even pedal, it's an unbelievable feeling.
You can have a break and not have to stop. Yeah, and you travel so fast, and you have to stay awake and watch what everyone is doing, and you're gonna have so much fun exploring how to ride in a peloton, because that scares
something else.
Daylights out of me. I'll take everyone out. I'll be like a bowling ball through the pins. I've got.
I thought I would be something like that as well, though. But it's pretty much good, because nobody wants to crash, and it's just the mental mindful dudes who had.
So you're telling me it's not like in Zwift where I can just sprint and then just go through everyone? That doesn't happen in real life.
No.
I don't go from the back to the front as easy as it does in Zwift.
No. You should be actually really careful in the real.
Okay,
it's going to be expensive, man.
Yeah. I'll need insurance just for me, or for everybody else. More importantly, now that's cool. I mean, I think the word I was searching for is inclusivity when it comes to cycling, because I also like the fact that not only can someone like both of us be able to not compete, but we can, be part of it and not be completely dropped. But I also like the fact that there are people out there who have either no or low fitness abilities. They can get on a bike and do something. They can be fit. They can get out there. They can be active. They can go and do London to Brighton. Like, there was people on London to Brighton who I just found inspiring, that they were out there doing this stuff, because it was obviously something that they were really, really gunning for. And it's my only example. I've got no other races or rides. I know it's not a race, but I've got no other rides I can draw on. But yeah, my point is, I just find it inspiring in how inclusive cycling can be.
Yeah.
Unless you join a Zwift race, because Zwift races are not very inclusive. I get dropped very quickly.
They want to drop you.
Yeah. They don't give a monkeys in them.
Well, like, let's say, let's continue on that inclusive stuff, because let's say Zwift, for example, it just shows you like we're not alone, man. Like it's a lot of people in the same boat, in the same situation as us, and trying to lose weight and trying to gain fitness and stuff. And they come into the comment section and let you know what they think. At the same time, they leave their story to us to read, and it's unbelievable, man. And it shows you like the cycling community. It's outdoor. It can be in clubs and stuff. It can be more of a competitive environment. Like people like really measure you and like stalk you on Strava and have a look at your numbers and so on. But on Zwift, they want to watch our videos, man. Yeah. We should appreciate that, because it means they actually care about you and your situation and what you are doing to your situation, not just watching the pros doing it all over. Like, for example, there's tons of the faster YouTubers than us, right?
Yeah.
But they still come and watch us as well, though. So it's really inclusive in the Zwift community to being heavy and trying to do something about it. I find that so amazing, though.
I think part of your appeal, part of your draw, is that a lot of people can relate to that. You know, when I watch some of the elite Zwifters, I watch them because I've got a problem where I think I can do that, and then I quickly jump on a race and think, I can't do that. You know, I watched an Ed. Do you watch Ed Laverick? Is that have I said his name right? Ed Laverick. Laverick.
Yeah.
I really like his channel. I like him. He's got a quirky personality that, you know, puts a smile on my face when I listen to him talk. He doesn't take himself too seriously, but he's a very, very good racer. And I watched a few of his videos, and he's just in the pack, and then he decides just head down and holds 350 watts for as long as he can, which I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to try that. So I joined a race because this is how I operate. This is how my mind works. I think to myself, I'll give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? I get dropped, which is exactly what happened. I gave it a go, got my head down, and I tried to hold 300 watts. Obviously, I burnt every match, but I did it. I held it for as long as I could, and then, nowhere near as long as Ed does. But I think that's part of your appeal. Going back to what I was saying, I went off on a tangent. Part of your appeal is I think people watch stuff like that, but then can relate to the stuff you're doing. That's what I like about your channel, is that when I watch you Zwift race and talk about it as well, it's not just the racing. You talk, you give yourself an introduction, you context it, your editing style is very quirky, you're hilarious. You know, thanks, your videos are crack me up, especially the incredible bulk. I mean, I was drinking coffee when I was watching that, and it nearly went everywhere. So good.
That was a so silly thing. I went to the shower for 45 minutes to get that stuff off, man. It's not doing that again, or maybe.
For anyone that hasn't watched it, again, go and check out his videos, right? So Norwegian Watts painted him. I'll let you explain it, actually. I don't know why I'm explaining it. Tell the viewers why or what Incredible Bulk is.
I thought it was a fun idea on Halloween to like have a costume race. Let's tour of what was it? Watopia.
Yeah.
To like go, and I searched everywhere for the inflatable T-Rex costume. I was searching for that, and I actually bought it and had it on me and started recording, and then I punctured it on my chain. So I had to go
you
for
went
a
to all
plan
the
B.
effort of getting a costume and then punctured it. Oh, man.
Yeah, it was like 80 quid, man.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, that was kind of sick. I was devastated. But anyway, I bought like green makeup anyway. And I thought like, what can we do this? Yeah, let's say I'm dressed up as in the Incredible Hulk, and I had no muscles to show. I only had the bulky bits. So I was like, okay, so I have been bulking for some years, so let's play with it. And yeah, it was a pretty interesting situation because I couldn't sweat through the paint.
Yeah, do you know what I was about to say? One of my favourite quotes I've ever heard anyone say in a Zwift video is, and you said it completely deadpan, and you was like, I don't know, halfway through the race, and you were like, yeah, I'm not sweating, and that's starting to worry me.
Yeah, that was a scary moment because usually at that time I should be drenched, and now it was scary.
The paint
Man.
was physically stopping you from sweating. That was so good.
Yeah.
Your video. So look, if I haven't painted that picture, your videos are very funny. So what's I've already asked you about your ambitions in regards to your cycling. What let me flip that on its head. What are the things? Because I watched a video recently, which I actually thought was quite good advice, where someone was talking about training and, you know, training for weight loss or training for a particular challenge, cycling challenge, and they said do the inversion tactic, which is where you because as humans we're naturally quite negative. Not always, but we can be, where we think about, oh, I can't do this because of this or this. What things, so the inversion tactics is you think about the things that you know will stop you from achieving your goals, and then you do the opposite. So what do you think are going to be the things that you are worried about this year that are going to stop you achieving, you know, the things that you want to achieve?
I think every time I've stopped cycling, stopped my weight loss journeys. This is not the first time. Like, this is a situation where I need to find something that actually works. And the thing I know is my really like red flags are when it's vacation, because then it's like everything can happen. Everything is loud. Everything is no limits. You can go nuts. Have your chocolate and cake too. It's fine. Everything is good. But it's a breaking of rhythm, like that thing right there. I cannot allow that to happen because I am such an addictive person. So if I get chocolate, this is just like going off the hooks, man. I love it so much. And yeah, it's so I know my limits, but even though we are humans, man, we make choices and we make excuses to make the bad choices. And it's such an yeah, it's difficult, man, because I know that vacations and when I get sick, like illness, cold, this is when I struggle to get back, because now I lost all that I did during Christmas and blah blah blah. So now I'm feeling sorry for myself. And what's best for feeling sorry? Sugar. It's sugar, like chocolate and
So
stuff.
sugar's
So
your vice, is it? Is sugar your weakness?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, massively. And I can tell what it does to me. Like, my whole body is inflamed when I eat sugar and stuff. But now when I'm kind of aware of what I eat and stuff, and then actually get my good portions of training, I know what I should feel like. And this is much better. But even though our head are like mental, it's we're drawn to forbidden fruits, I guess.
Yeah, it is tough. And do you know what? I think a lot of people listening can resonate with that. You know, you're not alone with having these vices. I think we've all got them. I mean, I know I have. I mean, I've shared my vices and things that I've battled with on my main YouTube channel. So it's I can sympathise. So what I think thank you for sharing, by the way, because I know it's easy to talk about stuff that we're really good at, like beating me in a race with a 1,000-watt sprint. You know, that's easy to brag. But it's not easy to share our shortcomings and, you know, our weaknesses. So I appreciate you kind of sharing that a little bit. What tactics do you employ that keeps you away from sugar, specifically for you? What things do you do?
Well, I need to you have to make a deal with yourself where you actually are allowed to talk with yourself about the like the cognition, like the choices that you make and why you do it. Like let's say the cycling, you burn a lot of calories while riding for 2 hours, right? Then if you include sugar into your long ride, it's fine, because you actually use it as fuel. So make it make sense. That's probably what my best advice, because it's now like you get a chocolate. Why? And you have to answer for yourself, why did I get that chocolate? So now if you actually make that chocolate, if you're going on a massive hike or massive ride, then use your chocolate as fuel. It's what it's for. It's sugar. Yeah. So like use it as something constructive, man. So this is what I battle myself discussing all this.
You kind of use psychological tactics in your head that allows you to stave off. Is it fair to use the term addiction? Is that something which is that too strong a word?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
When you talk about your, loving sugar and chocolate, would you use the term addiction, or is that too strong a word?
No, it's definitely addiction.
Is it?
It's
okay.
Definitely. Like people don't know the criteria. And I actually work at a hospital. I'm one of the bosses at the psychological ward, where we actually treat people's addictions. And it's I mean, the thing is, you can easily say the same thing about my addiction to sugar as you could say on a alcoholic's addictions to alcohol. Yeah. It's the same. It's a different substance, but it's the same pattern. And alcohol is considered worse because it has different health outcomes, right? Yeah. But sugar is actually the same, like mechanics in the head and everything. So, but you can actually use sugar as something like reasonable if you use it like properly. Yeah. But alcohol is pretty much, it's harder, right?
Listen, I'm lucky that I don't have a sugar addiction, but I can relate with the alcohol side 100%. And I wouldn't sit here and say that anyone's battle with anything is harder or, easier or whatever. Because until you've walked 100 miles in someone else's shoes, then it's easy, it's easy to judge. So just coming back to something you just mentioned there, I hope you don't mind me asking. So you mentioned that you do work as a manager in a psychological ward dealing with addiction.
Yeah.
That's what you do. That's your career.
I'm educated a nurse. Wow. And then took the step up. But the funny thing is that it's like I'm so good at giving advice to other people.
Yeah, we all are.
But no self-care.
Yeah,
no self-care whatsoever.
Right. Okay.
So this is so good. Like for me, working with patients on this topic is like recommending, make them do the right choices themselves, and talk with them and make them own their own project. Not me pushing them to stop whatever they need to stop doing, but they have to come to the conclusions themselves. And doing that, I was actually like, hey, crazy idea. Why the F am I doing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So I was like, I told my wife, if you swap the word alcohol or ecstasy or amphetamines with sugar, that's me.
Yeah. So
let's try like some of the techniques on myself, and I actually did, and it works, man. It's a cheat code.
So do you find yourself having like a full-on conversation with yourself in your head, giving yourself advice, and then kind of taking it on board?
Yeah, prepping myself when I walk into the store is like, you want to buy the whole southern wall of chocolates.
Yeah.
But you stay on the other end because it was milk.
Do you know what? That's so funny. I don't mind talking about this myself. I've shared it in videos, which is I've always had a problem with alcohol, in the sense that I was not able to not drink, and that always scared me. I'm making in my video actually where I talk about my New Year's resolutions, and then I'm currently in the process of making a video about my views and my journey with alcohol and alcoholism. But I found myself doing exactly the same as what you just mentioned. When I used to go shopping, I couldn't walk down the alcohol aisle. When I first tried to quit, I physically couldn't walk down the alcohol aisle for fear of, being tempted. It's terrible, really.
Yeah, and it's actually the treatment should be the opposite. You should be exposed for the alcohol as much as possible.
Oh, really? Okay.
To make the same choices every time. So now it's a habit, because now you made the choices so many times. So now you learned, like you changed your behavior, and now I'm able to withstand buying alcohol. So
that's really interesting.
To avoid it, it's so temporarily. It just works for.
It's just a plaster on a wound. It doesn't fix the problem.
Yeah, because it's like avoiding snakes doesn't actually make you less afraid of snakes. So if you actually get to know snakes and hold them and understand them and whatnot, then you actually can do something about your fright of snakes, right?
That makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense. So actively avoiding. So what advice would you give to anyone listening to this? So if you take the word alcohol or sugar out of the subject and just leave it blank for whatever they're struggling with, and we don't need to be as extreme as addiction. It can be, just people that I get a lot of comments on social media from people that struggle with overeating and portion control and knowing what foods to eat and what foods they shouldn't be eating or avoiding, maybe not even avoiding, as you've described. What advice would you give to somebody who just wants to make the right choices?
Don't be afraid of failing, really. You have to try something. I mean, if you want to change what's now, you have to try some changes. If you want to actually change behavior, then try to change it. Don't be afraid of what's going to happen. Let's say what's the worst that can happen? Let's say you're afraid of heights. Go and do something in a controlled environment where you can be exposed to heights. That would actually make sense. But avoiding it and staying on the ground, it's not going to help your problem, man. And it's social, people are afraid of social settings. It's the same. You try it with 2 or 3 people, then 4 people, then more and more, and try to avoid security nets. It went really well today, but I actually had a drink while doing it. Of course it went well. So avoid all these safety strategies and jump into it. Do it in a controlled environment, and it should be fine.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's interesting listening to you describe it, because it's the complete opposite of what I did. It really is. I removed absolutely everything in my life that I thought was detrimental to my weight loss, to my fitness. I knew one day that I wanted to lose weight and I wanted to be fit. I didn't want to be this person for my kids that got out of breath just walking up the stairs. I wanted to go over the park and play football. And, I wanted to, take them to the swings and go down the slide with them. And, when my kids were young, they're teenagers now. They don't want to do anything with me now. But it's interesting hearing you, because I literally just took everything that I thought was bad for me. So sugar, fatty foods, alcohol. I just got rid of the whole lot out of my house. Didn't buy any of it, and counted all my calories and over-exercised, probably did loads of stuff. So I went completely unbalanced, very unbalanced. I went the other end of the spectrum. I learned loads. I don't regret doing what I did. And I'm sure you don't, your journey, you've probably made loads of mistakes like I have. If you was to give advice to somebody starting out on this path now, knowing what you know now over the past, you've been on the journey a lot longer than you've been on Zwift. I know you said you was on Zwift from the beginning of last year, But what advice would you give to someone starting out? Excuse me. What advice would you give to somebody starting out now on weight loss, getting into Zwift, exercise, fitness?
First of all, I just want to go a little bit back to what you said. What worked for you is pretty well. It's amazing if it worked for you, but let's say, I'm never doing carbs again. Like some people go on a keto diet and stuff, but what happened when you introduce carbs again? So eliminating completely, it's not a good idea, but limiting, like to have self-control, that's my advice. Like if you're having pizza, try not to eat the whole thing, man.
Yeah.
Like have a few slices.
Yeah.
And the same with pasta. And can you make a healthier pasta than the fine one that you love the most? You can have the whole grain pasta as well. I mean, there's some choices you can actually make without like having to eliminate stuff, right? You can have chocolates, but on Saturday, not make every day a Saturday.
Do you know what?
Like that's my thing.
It's fascinating because even though it seems so simple, as you say it makes a lot of sense. My biggest problem with food it wasn't what I was eating. I was actually eating all right. I mean, I had takeaways like everyone else does, and have the pizza and everything. But I did cut all that out. But it was also portion control. So when I would have a meal, I'd look at a meal, and whereas somebody else, a normal person, in inverted commas, because I don't think there is such a thing as a normal person, where they would have, I don't know, this size portion, I would have this size. And I would eat half a loaf of bread with, like, if I had a spaghetti bolognese, I would have like 4 slices of bread with it, which is, unnecessary because there's enough calories to sustain me in that meal. I don't need to put loads of stuff on top. So you're absolutely right. It isn't about just, going from 2,500 calories or 3,000 calories a day down to 1,000. It's about balancing that out and looking at where you can tweak what it is that you're eating and doing. I love that. And then the other thing that you mentioned, which I think is actually quite apt for this time of year, as we record this, we're in the first week of January, and loads of people are doing dry January. They're starting out on new diets. I've got a thing. I'm not going to go off on a tangent because I could talk about this for 4 episodes of this podcast. But I've got a thing. I think that dry January is nonsense. I was about to swear then. I think it's absolute nonsense.
I saw the bee was forming in the...
Yeah, it was. I nearly did it. I do, and I think that new diets in January again are nonsense. Because for exactly what you said, that you start it and it's not a behaviour. So you start dry January, you detox your body, great, your body feels, but then you overdo it in February because you haven't drunk anything in January. You haven't done anything.
Then you reward yourself.
Yeah,
right?
You reward yourself by drinking double the amount in February. What's the point? The only way dry January works is if you then moderate the amount you drink after it by bringing it down, by taking advantage of the fact that you've learned you don't need that much alcohol. And then you bring down the amount you drink afterwards. So you reduce it. The only people that do dry January are people that know they've done too much and need to reduce that intake. That's the reasons that I struggled. I'm going to stop myself now because I've got 100 views on this. But again, with diets, these fad diets that people jump into in January, they think they need to join a gym and they think that they need to jump on the keto diet or the low carb diet to lose weight. Whereas in reality, it just comes back to behaviour. Change your behaviour. Reduce the amount you eat. Stick to 3 meals a day. Don't snack. And exercise. Burn more calories than you did yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about education because my PT put a plate on, put a food schedule for me, right? And I was like, okay, so I go home and I eat stuff like that, and okay. And then he had a kebab that I could choose. I could choose to eat a kebab. I had to make it myself with my spices and all that. And there he said, you can have 30 grams of aioli with it. I was like, oh, this is golden. But when you see how much an actual normal
Yeah.
portion of aioli looks like,
Yeah.
then it hits you like,
It's
okay, so
rubbish. You may as well not
I've
have
been
it.
doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing this completely
Yeah.
wrong, right?
Yeah.
So being aware of, try to eat 1,500 calories of chicken salad.
Yeah.
I dare you, try to eat it
Yeah.
without oils and stuff. You will struggle.
It
So
is
it's
tough.
not about the numbers. It's about eating stuff that makes you feel full for
Yeah.
some time. Like today, I'm having salmon. It's the best thing for me. Like I will feel satiated and good for many hours, man.
Yeah.
It's perfect for me. So try to explore some healthy foods and make it good.
Yeah.
You can actually make it good. It's incredible.
It's fascinating, really. I mean, I could talk about this. We're coming up to, towards the end of this episode, which is a shame because I could talk about what we're discussing now. I could talk for hours. I find it fascinating because it is. It's all up here. People think that weight loss is about what's on your plate and what you're putting in here. It's not. It's all up here. And it's all about, again, it's all about tricking yourself into behavioural change. And not going down the same roads that you've been down in the past. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is a definition of insanity, as Albert Einstein says. So, really, really interesting. Recently, you made a video about your achievements in 2024. I was about to say, what's the biggest thing you're most proud of? But I suppose it wouldn't be just one thing. What would be, your top 3 things that you achieved last year that you're most proud of?
I think even though I had a little period where I dropped out, I think it's the consistency that I had this year compared to all the other attempts I had. My biggest achievement, like by far, is the community, like the making of the Norwegian Watts Club. It's just like yours, Discord and stuff. Is to sit there with subscribers and followers and Zwifters and just banter and become actual friends with them.
Yeah.
It's something else. You meet online, it's fine. It's not real and it's plastic and all that. But this community is something else, and it's actually so much fun seeing. Like now, actually, there are a few riders going around with NWC in their clan tags or
Are they really?
tags.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's yeah,
that's really cool.
It actually almost teared me up seeing it, and it's people in the same situation.
I feel like I need to change mine now. I feel like I need to put that on my name.
No, you have your own thing though.
Yeah,
but look, the thing is, like, I might win a few sprints or impress somebody in 12 seconds or in 10-minute video, but to me the biggest part is the consistency, having this community going, like growing an actual community. This is surreal, man. And I must say, like, because I'm into numbers and YouTube, I must say, hitting 1,000 subscribers, doing it like with no clickbait, no, you won't believe what happened next and all that stuff, doing it on my way. It's probably what I'm most proud of this year.
That's really cool. Do you know what? And I will say, do you mind me sharing? Well, do you want to share your club name on Zwift so people who are Zwifters, they can join your club? Is that okay?
Yeah, it's a Norwegian Watts club. It's you find it if you search on clubs, and we have over 400 people who are mad enough to ride with us. It's really cool.
I'll put the link in the description. And you also do social rides. I mean, you do like social rides every Monday night, don't you?
Yeah, and it's one of those things. We all had someone we follow on YouTube. I don't believe that anyone is starstruck when they meet me, but I've been starstruck a few times on YouTube when I watch my heroes, right, and meet them online and in the game or play against them or whatever. And I always like felt like this is something special to actually meet them, and you screenshot it and send it to your friends and stuff. To actually have a community where you actually, like, not in the comment section on a video, where this is real life, when you go there and you discuss what you had for dinner and how your legs feel and stuff. It's not scripted, it's nothing, it's pure interaction, and I love it.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I will say I was starstruck when I joined your first social ride. So to be riding with you in a ride was great. The first time we rode in a ride, it was on the back of my video that I made, which was the podcaster race. Do you remember? Where we were finished and I say we were finished, everyone else was finished, and we still had another lap. So we did it together, didn't we? We did our last lap on our own.
Yeah, we saw I think we both like nodded to each other and like, all right, so this is it. This is where we meet for the first time. And and we pretty much decided on we were making a video anyways, but we pretty much decided on like, this is the moment. And since then I've enjoyed your company on Discord and all that stuff. So
I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
I enjoyed that ride as well until you dropped me on the descent.
Oh, you dropped me first on the uphill.
That wasn't in your video. You didn't put that in. Me dropping you wasn't it? It was just you disappearing off into the distance, and I was like, man,
I have a YouTube video where we only do downhills, man.
That's it. We only do downhill races. We stop at we start at the top of the radio tower and we just go downhill.
That's what we do.
I love it. That's really good. So, is there anything else you would like to add before we end this episode?
No, I would just like not backtrack, but I would say I'm not an expert on this weight loss thing, but I've done pretty much all the mistakes you can do, and I really hope you guys just like find your own way, not like do it like they do on YouTube, but do it like what fits you and your lifestyle, and not pay for anything. You can do it yourself. You can educate yourself, but you have to make the actual effort to know what's good for you. And also, I would add, the Zwift is not going to make me lose weight. The food, the kitchen, is the choices on the store, on the canteen, whatever, is going to make you lose weight.
Yeah, I completely agree. I always say, don't emulate or copy. Just we hope that you are inspired by what it is that you hear, and watch. That's my aim. That's why I make videos. I know it's why you do yours, as a journal of the journey you're on, because it's all about the journey. It's not about the destination. And
no.
I know I know you mean that, and I mean that. But yeah, we don't want anyone to copy, and we don't want anyone to take our advice other than just be inspired by it. I'm not a nutritionist. I haven't got a clue what I'm doing.
Take my advice, tweak it so it fits you.
Yeah, exactly. Be inspired by it. Just know that there's other people out there that are on the same journey and are battling, and do something with that information. And if it just gets one person off the sofa, cycling, running, whatever, going to the gym, looking at the food they're eating and thinking about it, that's good enough for me. I'm happy with that, which seems like a really good way to end this video. So I just want to say, guys, look, thank you for choosing to watch this video and listen to me on my podcast. This is why I make these episodes, to be able to speak to individuals like Norwegian Watts. Norwegian Watts, I just want to say a big, big thank you for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun. And I will say I hope to see you on Zwift soon, but I'm going to need some more training. I'm going to need, or it needs to be a bit hillier. I think I might have the advantage on the small hills, not the big ones. But yeah, thank you for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me, and good luck on everything, and especially the podcast series. I love it. So keep at it, man.
Thank you, Norwegian Watts. Thank you, guys, for choosing to watch today. See you in next week's show. Cheers, guys.